Good morning. It is, what is it? Friday, the 30th of December. And on the other line, actually on the other end of the line, there is Gary Smith from the Netherlands. Gary, belated Merry Christmas and Happy New Year. How's the weather in Netherlands on Texel?
It's surprisingly warm for this time of the year. Apparently, it's a record warmth through most of Europe. So no snow. It's a bit windy here on Texel today, so it's cold, but a lot warmer than last year for sure.
We haven't spoken in a while, and a lot of things have happened in the meantime. I think last time we met was in Germany at the World Cup. Is that right?
Yeah, correct.
And we talked a little bit there on the coaches corner and NSL talk and stuff. In the meantime, we had the U.S. Nationals, we had the Dubai Championship, and I'm sure you have followed this quite carefully from the Netherlands. Um,
Yeah, very, very much so. I think the whole world was watching the U.S. Nationals to watch how the ASB team was going to do and if they had any opposition. And then, of course, Dubai, also very interesting to watch the showdown between Hayabusa and the French.
Yeah, I don't even know where to begin. There's so much to talk about, but I think the USB nationals were before Dubai, so let's begin with that. What caught your attention specifically?
Well, I think it, it's hard for me to say exactly, but Airspeed would agree with me that they didn't have a very strong meet, but they still stamped their authority on it. And I think, as Mark Kirkby said in one of the interviews, that it's difficult. They were missing the outside challenge. And for me, watching all their videos, you could see it. There were mistakes happening, and they didn't look as sharp as they did when I saw them earlier on in the year at the Shamrock. There, they looked to me much better than what they looked six months later, 7 months later. So that was for me very noticeable.
Right, and I remember that too. It's pretty interesting at the Shamrock. Of course, they were pushed by Hayabusa and by the French team, and they were not at the nationals.
Yeah, yeah, exactly, and also it was that was the beginning of that team in specific, and I think they had to prove and they wanted to show the world what they could do, and I think they shocked everybody. They jumped so well at the Shamrock, and that was their beginning.
Yeah, there was somehow this kind of expectation I had heard from a few others that they said, well, it will probably be a great start for Airspeed, and then the longer the season will get, the more difficult it may become to get better.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. I can remember jumping myself with when you jump with a new team, your first 50 jumps seem better than between 200 and 300. You almost feel as though you've gone backwards at some stages. But it's almost like the honeymoon. The beginning of the team brings out the best sometimes.
Yeah. Um, if we stay in the US business for a moment, I don't know if you followed the story of the new four-way team here in the US, SDC Rhythm XP, their performance at the US Nationals, then in Dubai, and now with a new personnel with a personnel change and a new center inside. Did you follow that?
Yeah, very much so. I think they have a lot of followers, a lot of fans in the rhythm camp. And of course, I think they did a great job. And no matter what their result was, I saw them all in the land. In fact, in November, barring Rob, I saw them at the SkyQuest.
Hmm.
I think they were all around, and I spoke to them, and they were very positive about it. And then, of course, now with the tryouts, I followed that, and with Chris and the team. I think if they just have to stick to their plan and set realistic goals and believe that they can achieve.
Do you think they will be able to get close enough to airspeed in the near future and next year, beginning next year, to be a challenger for them?
Not next year, no. I think that's too. It's not realistic. I think airspeed's too far ahead.
Hmm. How long, how much time will it take them? Basically, they need to have a 3-year plan anyway, if they want to become a world champion. So, what do you think? How much time is it going to take for them to get, let's say, into a challenger position?
Well, if I was them, I would work hard the first year, which is next year, 2012, and then see how it goes, and then set their goals. They have to win in 2013, if I'm correct. And that's I wouldn't even worry about airspeed until I got to that year. If you start setting your sights on airspeed now, I'd almost think it's too early. You never know what airspeed's going to do. What
Yeah.
they're going to do. I wouldn't focus on another team. I would focus on myself and see if you could almost reverse the tables on who's focusing on who by the time you get to 2013.
What do you think? Have Chris? You have known Chris Farina for quite a while too. So, do you think he will be? The team will get even stronger. What do you think about the choice? They had Chris Farina, and then Rodney and Fleming at the same time, and of course the fifth candidate. But if you look at
Uh,
the choices they had,
Yeah, I mean, they had fantastic choices, and that's a tribute to the team. If you look at those tryouts, I looked at it and I thought, wow, I wish I could be jumping in there because those were all very, very good
you should.
tryouts, including yours, Kurt.
You should have tried out together with me, Gary. That would have
I don't
been
know if I
fun.
could take a knock like you did.
That was
Um,
pretty tough.
no, but yeah, I mean, they made their choice, and yeah, I think we all know Chris Farina. He's a fantastic jumper, super fast. I mean, Paris Fury had always at the Bedford Challenge had the record with the fastest jumps.
Right.
So I mean, there's no doubt he brings a lot to the team, but it's a case of no matter who they chose, it's how do they go from now through 2012 training. It's been shown before. It's not the best jumpers that are always going to win. It's the best team. It's what they do with their allocated jumps. Otherwise, they're not going to do it. You need a plan. Otherwise, it's not going to work.
Right. Well, I guess we wish him good luck. It would be nice to see some more competition here in the US. ESPEED is alone at the moment, and it would make it more interesting. Rhythm is also the connection to Dubai because they competed in Eloy and then traveled to Dubai. Let's talk about Dubai. What did you see there?
Well, obviously, I can only speak about the French and Hayabusa. My eyes were on those to see
Yeah,
how they were, how that panned out. And of course, I was watching Rhythm, but I mean, by their own token, they knew that they would be behind those two teams. They were never going to be fighting for gold or silver. And of course, the French, very impressive, very, very impressive. But you can also see mistakes in their video, and of course with Hayabusa, I think Hayabusa, from from uh, from my point of view, they jumped very, very well, but they made some silly mistakes in some of their jumps, and that let the French get away from them.
yeah. You have been working with Hayabusa this year, right?
Yes, only in the tunnel.
And yeah, and you will
Joey
yeah, go ahead.
Joey did the groundwork and the outdoor jumping, and for me, I just did the tunnel, and then from next year, I'm going to probably be working, or will be working with them more on the ground as well, on
I
the
see.
outdoor jump.
Yeah, yeah. You mentioned earlier that you will be here with them in leading into the Shamrock Showdown next year, and that'll be outdoor training.
Yes, correct, correct.
Oh, very good. We look forward to that. There will be the same showdown as last year, and
Yeah,
we may even
it's going to
have.
be
Go
it's
ahead.
going to be great, but I think the only not negative, but the only question mark on it is that a lot of the teams are having a bit of a break now, and they only fire up in March,
Yeah.
just before the Shamrock. Like the French apparently are just coming out to do a few days training. They do the meet, and then they do a week's training afterwards.
Hmm.
And Hayabusa is very similar, but they will train a little bit before, take a break, and do the Shamrock, and then fly back home.
Well, then maybe it will be interesting. They are in the same boat, obviously, which makes it an even playing field for them. Maybe Airspeed could have a training advantage. They have the Valentine's meet, and they may
Of
start
course.
training much earlier than the other France and Belgium.
Yeah, I would definitely not put too much focus on the Shamrock results with regards to the world meet next year. Of course, it's the top three in the world, and we're going to be watching them. But I think anything could happen from March until December,
Yeah, yeah.
until the world meet.
It's a long year. It will be interesting to see how the season begins for those teams. What else, Gary? You're the national coach of the Netherlands. You are the head coach in Germany. What, what else can we expect for next year? How are the German girls doing?
I've spoken to them. I've had various chats with them. Sarah is up and running, and she hasn't made a jump yet, as far as I know. But they will start their outdoor training in April. So unfortunately, they missed the Shamrock. I was hoping, and I think the whole world was hoping to see them jump the Shamrock up against the French team
And the Golden
and see,
Knights, they would be
and the
here.
Golden Knights, of course, and just see where they are. Um, I've done a little bit of work with Steve Hamilton's team in Deland, the Polaris girls, and
Oh yeah, right.
I think it would, and they will be at the Shamrocks. I think the female competition will be hot as well. It will be very good to see who's where by March, but
Yeah.
unfortunately, the German girls will not be there.
hmm What's happening in the Netherlands? I hear that Whoops continues once again. That is wonderful news, and they have a lineup change.
Yes, Whoops, fantastic. They've put their heads down and come up with a new plan for next year. They've lost the tail. Joyce has left the team, and they've picked up Marco Blumendahl on the tail, and he comes from Ignition, the team that was just behind them in the Dutch national. So they're not going to go back at all with him. They'll do a little bit of wind tunnel training, and I'm sure they'll be back with him. And the plan is to go bigger than 2011. So they'll be doing a lot of jumps. They're in Deland in February, March training.
hmm
So that's exciting for them.
Yeah.
They're going to go bigger than they have been, and hopefully get themselves all the way to Dubai.
Great. One of the longest standing teams, and they keep starting in the rookie class in 2005 and with two of the original members. So that is always fantastic news to hear that. Quick update from the United Kingdom. Gary, you are also active there, and Satori is trying to make plans for the Shamrock.
Yes, and I cannot be quoted, but what I have heard, I've seen Milko in the tunnel, and I've spoken to Julia a little bit and John, but there's hopefully big plans coming for Satori that they want to do. I've heard big amounts. I don't want to be quoted with it, but a lot of jumps for next year. So that would be very exciting, and I think they would be silly to miss the Shamrock. If of course they can all make it work in their schedules, I think it would be great to see them there.
That would be wonderful. What do you think is going to happen in the female category with the UK teams? Once again, great performance ahead in Dubai. Walked away with a pickup team and the $30,000 or whatever it was this year, or
Yeah, 40,
40,
I think.
40, 40,000. It was a nice trip, a nice vacation. Is there any consistency to be expected will they have a world-class team next year?
I think you can never count the British girls out. There's a wealth of very good and talented jumpers there. It's just a case of whether they'll put a team together. And of course, Dubai was great for them because the French girls had mixed up their teams and they'd come in with a new member as well. And there was no great big challenge from anyone else for them. So in that sense, that was a sheer luxury. But I think to beat the US and to beat the French in Dubai next year, the team would have to do some training.
Hmm.
So there would have to be a commitment from be it an Amanda and a Sarah and a Liz or whoever they choose. But for sure, Julia will go with Satori.
Yeah, yeah.
So they lose Julia.
All right, Gary. Did we forget anything? How about China or Africa?
Hey, South Africa.
So, let's be it for now, Gary. Thank you very much for the fantastic update, and I wish you a happy New Year and all good luck for whatever you do next year. And we'll see you soon
Yeah,
back here in
yeah,
Florida.
thank you very much, Kurt, and obviously to everybody out there. And my last little 10 seconds, I want to add that South African team Voodoo is also putting in a big run for Dubai as well. They're doing some extra training and wind tunnel, and they have had one member change. I
Yeah,
forgot about them.
I heard about this, and the NSL News will follow up soon with an update there.
Okay, great. Thanks,
All
Kurt.
right. Thank you very much, Gary.
Okay.